So in the beginning, there was 11 or 12 of us, part of NestleYogurtYum, and we had come back together and we thought, let's do another production. And we decided to do a production called Layla and Majnu, which is basically a 5-minute clip, which was going to be part of another cultural night.
There's an Indian movie as well called Aaja Nachle, which has done a musical type of thing for Layla and Majnu, and we were basically going to recreate that. And once again in somebody else's show as well. But then around came the idea, why do that again when we know we can do a show for ourselves and we have the groundwork for it as well.
Then we decided, why don't we market to a greater audience? Why don't we market to people who understand the common language, English? And why don't we do something that is a bit more upbeat, a bit more lighthearted? So one day we came up with the concept of Romeo and Juliet Butter Chicken.
How we started off with the idea of Romeo and Juliet Butter Chicken was, it came with the title first. Well, sort of. It started off with it being a purely Indian story, which is Layla and Majnu, and then from there it moved on to approaching a wider audience range, like I said before, and from there we obviously decided that Romeo and Juliet would appeal to a greater crowd, so we changed it to Romeo and Juliet, and what do people associate with Indian butter chicken, so Romeo and Juliet Butter Chicken.
Director generally tells the story much better than I do, but apparently I sent her a text saying, I want to do a Hindi version of Shakespeare.
I remember this one clear memory of getting one particular text from the producer, or the person who is now the producer of the show, and it just said, why don't we do a Hindi version of Shakespeare? And I sat there and thought, what? So, hoga ya nahi hoga? It's really bad translation of to be or not to be. And he sort of texted back and said, that's not exactly what I was thinking, but we'll have a chat about it. And from that text and everyone's ideas again, we came together and came up with the script and everything. And yeah, that's basically where NS Charity came from. Well, being a charity, the next step, once we'd come up with the idea of what we'd like to do and sort of had a really basic structure of how to go about doing it, the next step was to decide which charities we would donate the money to. We decided finally on Mater Children's Hospital, the Little Miracles Appeal, and also on Youngcare. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of Mater Children's Hospital and the amount of work that the appeal does for sick children. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but so many sick children go through their emergency doors every year. And they do so much for them as well. So this is our way of giving back to them and helping them do what they do best. And also Youngcare, which is a charity that is for young people who have nowhere to go and are forced to live in homes for aged care, basically, because there is no one to look after them with their particular disability. And so there are some carers who can look after these children and young people as well. But then again, the carers have so much responsibility on their mind, and it's taking 24-hour care of someone, as you can imagine, it's no mean task. The recruitment process, that was an idea of one of the bright sparks of our committee, who is coincidentally also the producer. What we did actually was put up posters around Garden City and universities as well, and around just to anywhere that the general public would see it. And the posters actually said, "Are you Indian?" in very big writing, which I'm sure grabbed a lot of people's attentions, particularly Indians. And it basically just had a small spiel about an upcoming production and that we required actors and volunteers and backstage sound and lighting assistants, and if anybody would like to join or find out more about the production as well, just to call a number at the bottom.
And I got close to probably 150 calls just within that week, and I had 90 interviews organized over 2.5 weeks.
We did get the calls flooding in, and at that point what we would do is just give a bit of a spiel about who we are and what we're doing, and organize an interview.
You had the characters, you had quite a few people coming in and saying, oh, sir, how much are you going to pay me? And you turn around and tell them it's actually a volunteer position. And they turn around and go, yeah, I know. How much are you going to pay me? Not really what we're after. But,
The idea was to individually go and interview whoever had called and just get to know, or start to get to know them as a person, and see what they were interested in, as well as giving them a chance to see what we're all about.
So the interviews generally went for 20 minutes to half an hour, and what they asked were, well, it wasn't really a question interview. It was more me explaining what we're all about. It was quite random to receive, to walk past a poster saying, "Are you Indian?" and then take the initiative to actually call this random Indian person and organize to meet them about something completely random. And so what this was, it was basically half an hour of me talking and me saying what we're about, what we're trying to achieve. And it was, what I covered were mainly the topics of charity, the charities that we're representing, which is Mater Children's Hospital and Youngcare. And it was also looked at concepts of, being an Indian, and talking about the fact that what this script and what this production is trying to achieve is giving Indians a different light. And what I mean by that is, currently in this society we look at Indians in, well, not us, but obviously Western society looks at Indians as though we're either telemarketers, or we're taxi drivers, or we work for NASA.
Hello.
Yeah, mate, this is Raju. Just communications. How you doing?
Raju. Hi, Raju. How are you, Raju?
You happy with your phone?
Yeah, I'm happy with my life, yeah, my wife, The new car is not out, 97, no? Yeah.
I'm going to give you a free phone.
Free phone? Free? Hey, free? Malhotra, free?
All you need to do
Huh?
is give me your credit card details.
So what this does is, not only does it focus on the absolute stereotypes of Indians, but it puts a twist on it, and it puts a modernized twist on it, so it lets people see it from an internal perspective. So for those people that weren't Indian that came to the production, it would have been quite an eye-opener to see how it is to be an Indian in a modern society. The main part when it came to the interviews, and this was something that I was really trying to get across, was passion for charity and passion for wanting to be part of something that you will enjoy, and try to have a fun time with everyone. We tried to recruit open people because obviously it was, we wanted people that would not be shy. We wanted people that would be okay with standing in front of 800 people and performing. But having said that, though, we generally recruited people because of their love for charity, let alone, their acting experience or anything like that. The script, it changed. It changed a lot. Actually, come to think of it, up until the last day, which is Saturday, 25th of July, 2009, we were still updating the script. I just want to put it out there. Hitesh, I'm very, very sorry. The technical crew were amazing, but that's besides the point. The script started off very, very different to how it ended up, and that was for various reasons. First of all, we wrote an initial script, which had a lot of things in there that we found hilarious and humorous and absolutely random, and we thought that could work. However, what we did was we went out there with the script and we wrote it without thinking, and we purposely did that because we wanted to hit on topics that affected people, that really hit people home, and we thought, okay, well, let's write it. Let's write it in such a way that it affects everyone.
The initial script, it had, we initially had what we called must-haves, and a list of things that definitely had to be in the script if nothing else made it. And probably one of those things made it on there. And I can't even remember what that one thing was. I remember the things we cut though. For example, we of course had to have the line where some Indian woman in the play would go, "Nahi, ee." That didn't make it, unfortunately.
So it affects people in a way that they feel what's happening on stage, and they are affected by it in whether it's a negative way or a positive way. And that was something that we thought was very important. When the co-director, the director, and I spoke about this, we thought that the most important part about this play is to devise, to come up with a concept that covers racism, that talks about those aspects of racism that are that we're so affected by.
And those Malhotras, they think they can play around in my house. I will deal with them. I will send them back to that hole in the ground from where they crawled. Even that lowly, filthy servant has that quality you do not have. Courage! Courage!
How's the script changed? Okay, now initially when we wrote the script, I remember this one scene we had in there, and I think it was scene 5 at the time, and it was Romeo gets in. And it was the way it was the scene where Romeo actually gets into the Khan residence after the Walima scene. And we had 2 guards organized. And so Romeo would come in, and the guards would see him, and they'd, obviously try to arrest him and whatnot. And then Romeo would go crazy, and he'd go ballistic and everything, and he would start jumping up and down and going mad. This is what I mean by random. And then all of a sudden, a girl walks in with a bottle of water saying, "Rahul juice, Rahul juice." To a lot of you that doesn't make sense, but that's actually a Kuch Kuch Hota Hai reference. Now, it was incredibly funny at the time, but even now telling you, I realize it wouldn't have worked. The hours spent on the script. Where do I start? I've probably spent more hours on this script than I have studying in my last 5 years of university. The reason why was because it needed that dedication. It needed us 3 to sit there and say, we need to do this inside out, and we need to keep updating it. We need to write it. And the main reason we were writing it was for blocking purposes and technical purposes. So Hitesh or Luke and Beck, the 2 theatre consultants, knew exactly what to direct. They had no idea of the concept of the script or what we were trying to do in each scene, and so they needed this outline to tell them what to do and how to do it. And then came audition time. Now this was a fiasco and a half. This was like organizing an event in itself. Basically what we did was, our first audition, I remember it, was organized with I think close to 20 people, and it was at the University of Queensland. And so what we did was we hired out a room there, and we had scripts written out, just simply called audition 1, audition 2, etc., etc. And we knew what script allocated to which character in the play.
So in the auditioning process, everyone was given a small script to read over and sort of get their mind around a particular character. For example, if somebody was trying out for a role as Jackie, for example, then we would give them a small script that would just basically say that, they're a police officer and such and such has happened in the community, and they have to go deal with a particular criminal or something along the lines of that. And they would then have the opportunity to go away and read it for a while, get their mind around the character, add, edit, cut, chop. And we had a small scoring system going as well. before we decided any of the final positions, we'd get to come together and just have a chat about who we liked, or who was particularly good at something, who we wanted to try out for a different role because they may suit that role better. A lot of people started off in the interview process and ended up auditioning for a particular role but would end up as something else. Classic, well, not classic, but a great example is our Juliet, actually, who auditioned as a dancer. She's a fantastic dancer, as you can see. But yeah, we also asked her to audition for the part of Juliet, and hey presto, we had our Juliet. Also, Rubaina was another member who'd auditioned as a dancer and ended up as Juliet's sister, which it's fantastic, really.
Move out of the way! Jude! Jude! Please wake up, Jude! Jude, it's your sister. It's me, Ruby. Please, Jude. You can't leave me! You can't! This is all your fault! If it hadn't been for you and your stupid transition, she would be alive! Jude, please wake up! Please wake up!
Rehearsal spaces. Okay. We had, I think, close to 5 rehearsal spaces. There was Maruko, which was our main Sunday rehearsal space. There was our technical director's place, where we did the full run-through, which was in South Bank. There was 2 places at the University of Queensland, which is Building 63 and Building 50. And of course we had our choreographer, Raina's place, which was in Callumvale. The reason why we had to do this was, first of all, because we didn't have the funds to hire out one specific place for our auditions, and for our rehearsals. And so, we basically found any place that we could to do these rehearsals. And it was really great to see the way everybody just bonded together and realized that this is just what we have to do in order to make it work.
Such long days. I mean, people would spend their days at work and then come to rehearsal afterwards, or spend a whole day at uni and then come to rehearsal afterwards. And then we'd have our weekend rehearsals, which were like, 12-hour, days, even more sometimes, depending on who was there. And it was long and it was strenuous and enjoyable. So damn good. I'm going to miss spending so much time with so many people.
Yeah, marketing was also interesting. We had many avenues that we used to market the production. It was everything from radio marketing to newspaper as well. A lot of our marketing also went actually by word of mouth, which I found quite amazing when people come up to you and say, "Oh, you're doing that production, aren't you? The Romeo and Juliet something." That's always a good feeling. The other major avenues that we used was Facebook, which is an incredible way to get a message out. What we did was set up a causes page where everyone could log in and join, sort of find out a bit more about who we are and what we're trying to do, and just a bit about the production as well. That forwarded on to the friends and friends of friends was a good way to get the word out there. I think that helped a bit, quite a bit.
As part of marketing, posters played a huge deal. We came up with the concept and we just had to find someone who could actually put it into practice, and she came in the form of Raina's friend Amelia, who actually has her own photography company, and we looked through her portfolio and she was fantastic and we just loved her work. So we thought, we'll sit down and have a chat with her and see what she has to say. And she was really on board with it. She was just so happy to help us out. And she put a lot of time and effort into it, and it came out to be such a fantastic poster. There was a lot of back and forth. I mean, we had to keep emailing back and forth, do you want this to be changed? Yeah, we want it like this. Could you make that font just a little bit smaller? Could you make, that a little bit bigger? Or can you put that to the left and to the center? And, could you actually shift that person down or up a little bit? And yeah, I mean, we were pretty stickler for detail kind of people. It was a bit crazy reading back on the emails, actually. But, obviously it all came to such an awesome goal. I mean, when we saw the finished product, we were just blown away. I mean, and we've been seeing everything every step of the way, and even that, right at the end, we saw what we ended up with, and we're just like, that's exactly it. Yes, thank you. And yeah, she put in so much effort, which we are so happy, to have had her on board.
Banner marketing. Okay, now this was a concept that came to me in the middle of the night, which were quite a few concepts that came to me in the middle of the night. But I would have moments where I'd wake up and go, that's what we're going to do. And so what we did was I called Pav up and I said, let's make a banner and do something called banner marketing. And so we got together and we spoke about what options we may have with this banner. One of them was the promo song, which wasn't a success, unfortunately. But the other one that we had were overpass and putting the banners on highways, on the overpass of highways. That was a lot of fun. I remember the first time the co-director, Pavitra, and I actually put the banner up. It was in peak hour traffic because we only had it we had it up there from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Practically for an entire week. And I remember every time we were putting it up, or every time we'd be standing near the banner, we'd get a lot of people beeping and waving and, massive grins on their face. I think simply for the fact that the concept of Romeo and Juliet that everybody understands, and then a massive butter chicken splattered over it, it was just something that people were attracted to.
Quest are an umbrella corporation for a whole range of local newspapers in southeast Queensland, and we approached them, and they actually help a lot of local, productions and charity organisations and that sort of thing. So they were really interested in everything we had to put forward, and so they gave us, the chance to have a photo shoot and get articles printed in all, various local newspapers, and all of them were different. It wasn't like a generic plug for us. It was like everything was individually, suited to the newspaper and the people who lived in that area. So they helped spread the good word. Another big part of marketing was flyer marketing, and once we had the flyer down pat and printed, we had a couple of ways of actually distributing it. We didn't have the manpower all the time to go to suburbs and houses and kind of drop them into post boxes and things, which would have been cool. But our major ploy was actually to go into city, where obviously masses and masses of people are always wandering around, especially during the week. We would stand strategically placed, so it was pretty cool. We got a group of us, we all dressed up in Indian clothes. We went out into the city, standing at strategic points, let's say maybe Central Station. We got a really good response from everything we were saying. I mean, from my end of it, I remember standing there shouting, come see a play to spice up your mind, raising money for Martyr Children's and Youngcare, and we got such a good response, and each different, like saying Romeo and Juliet butter chicken attracted a different crowd to saying, we're raising money for Martyr Children's Hospital, but that just diversified the number of people that we could actually target, and it was wonderful to have people actually double take or walk past and then stop and actually come back and when they just heard some sort of keyword that they'd picked up, and they'd come back and actually talk to you or pick up a flyer. And yeah, it was so interesting and wonderful to have such a positive response from everyone.
Something that I loved about our production was the cohesiveness of everyone, the family and the bond that everyone had by the end of it. Something that I did push in the interviews initially, and one of the reasons why we did recruit people was their likeliness of how they would interact with everyone else. And what we found and what we tried to push was, we told people that yes, we will have close to 50 people or maybe more than 50 people part of the cast and crew of Romeo and Juliet. But what we need everyone to be is be like a family. And the reason why we wanted to push that was because there was myself, the producer, a director, and a co-director running this thing. And we couldn't go to everyone and try to just simply be a family with just them and us. So we needed everybody to have that bond and have that family environment and that family feel, because if they didn't, or if they were uncomfortable about something, we knew that at least they could go to someone.
You know, you don't expect 55 people to come all together and work in such harmony, and it was so wonderful to see. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we were all working towards this common cause. I mean, a charity and doing something for the good of others. And, you know, I think all of us just had that higher purpose in mind, and even if it wasn't that, I mean, we all just got along, and I think we all made the effort to get along, and some of us, it didn't really take effort at all. You know, you just go there and everyone just seemed to sync and gel in harmony and looking out for each other in some way or another, and it was just wonderful to see. And it all culminated in that week that led up to the play. I mean, you could see how everyone everything was just flowing. I mean, even when, you know, something wasn't working out, everyone just pitched in to somehow make it work, and it came off so well. I'm just so proud of everything that happened.
It does make me proud every time I see them on stage, and just sitting back in full run-throughs, watching everything gel together, or even when it didn't gel, everyone took it so well and supported each other throughout that time, that it's good to know, or it's good to be part of such a family atmosphere, and it makes you proud.